It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is February 3rd. It's a Tuesday. So happy it's Tuesday. This is the B block, the Bravo block, or the Brad block. It could even be the bad block, whichever you want to put it. Right, John? And how do we start it off?
You got that right. You know what we do in B block, Brad?
What do we do?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
John, as always, is correct. And what we start off with is...
It's number 3.
John, I got a weird thing about number 3. There's a headline on STL today that St. Louis County is thinking of raising property taxes for senior help. Now, let me think about this. Didn't we just freeze the property taxes for seniors? And now they're going to raise the property tax that seniors are going to pay? Can you explain this to me, John?
No. What does that story actually say? Did you click on it?
No, of course not, because I don't have the paywall. You know, I mean, I'm just reading headlines, John. Come on, I'm ADD. You got to help me out. You're the guy that knows all this stuff.
Hey, you know what I always say, Brad? ADD is a great excuse for low effort. So at least read us what the headline says, Brad, and maybe we can deduce it together, what it means.
The headline says, St. Louis County to consider property tax hike for senior services. It's by your buddy, Mark Schlinkman.
Okay, so maybe, sorry to interrupt. So maybe this means, Brad, using context clues, maybe this means a certain type of property, say, commercial property over a certain value or a certain size would see a property rate increase, and that money would go to help seniors.
To help see why do seniors need help? See, I say this is how the world is backwards. Okay, I have friends of mine. Obviously, I'm 90 years old, so I have a few friends left who are in my age bracket. Most of them are died off, but that's a whole other story. But all they talk about is I got to go to get my senior discount. Okay, and these people are loaded. But yet you've got the junior discounts, there should be no more senior discounts. There should be junior discounts. If you're between the ages of 18 and 34, you would get the junior citizen discount. And God knows they need it. Remember, the statistic came out not too long ago. Well, it was 10 years ago. The average age of a new home buyer in the United States was 25. Now it's like 42. Those young people need our help, not the old fogies who are sitting with $2 or $3 million in their IRA or 401k or gold bars that they had under their bed. You know, we need to help out the junior citizens, not the senior citizens, John. The senior citizens, they got it made, you know.
Hey, that was a great 45-second meaningless meandering filibuster. And in that time, I put forth a little bit of effort, Brad. You should watch and learn. Okay. I put forth a little bit of effort to find the story. The St. Louis County Council is considering an increase to property taxes to raise money for senior citizen services.
Yeah.
The Seniors Count organization is set to argue before the council Tuesday, that's tonight, for a hike of 5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation.
Here we go.
And once it on the November 3rd ballot, so St. Louis County residents would be able to do this. And here's the punchline. If voters approve the tax, a board would be set up to consider giving grants to various old people groups, said the project lead for Seniors Count. Many of these are nonprofits. So let's raise taxes and give money to a nonprofit board that would then decide how much tax money gets to go to nonprofits. That seems like something you would support.
John, just the opposite.
You love nonprofits.
Because what would happen, let's say the county gave, let's call it the JC, which would be John Combest, not JC radio dude, but JC Older Folks Board, and they gave you $1 million, and John would say, you know what, it's really tough doing this job, doling out this money to the senior citizens. I think of that $1 million, I think $850,000 should go from my salary, and then we'll have $150,000 that maybe we'll just go around to some pickleball courts and just
or Connie Bobo.
Right. Here's $20. I'm from the JC board, the John Combest board, and we get this. See, this is what I don't like about this kind of stuff. It's setting up organizations to essentially be the middleman. I told you the crazy story. I have friends of mine that run not-for-profits, and they told me about the crazy deal in St. Louis County. I think the company's called the Productive Living Board, and all they do, they get the money from the state, from SB 40. Remember, we talked about SB 40 before. They get the money from the state for SB 40, and they're the ones that you got to go kiss their feet and grovel in their presence. Oh, please give my not-for-profit some money. And yet they got fancy schmancy offices in Clayton. They got all sorts of fancy schmancy stuff. And that's all paid for by money, which should be going to the not-for-profit not-for-profits, but no, they're in the middle of it. And there's somebody who sits on the board of the Productive Living Board who doles out the money, who's probably making six figures, and got an assistant who's making six figures, just like that gal up in Minnesota. Remember we talked about her that got arrested for the riot at the church? She runs a not-for-profit, and every year her salary is more than what the not-for-profit gives out for funds to help people. I mean, what's wrong with that picture, John?
It sounds like your friend was rejected from being on the Productive Living Board.
No, it's just, see, the interesting part of this is if you sort of, and this is the problem, if you pull back the curtain of the not-for-profits, and I'm also including churches and things like that, I have a problem with this. I really do.
Why do you have a problem with nonprofits, Brad? I don't think you've described this before. What's the problem with
John,
nonprofits?
you're baiting me because they don't pay any taxes. Matter of fact, go and look if you want to go look at since I started charging on the Westplex Chamber of Commerce, there's a $99 deal for small business people. There's
and what's the cost for nonprofits, and why is it more for nonprofits?
$390.
Is it because they have all the money?
Yes, because they have all the money. They do have all the money, John. I mean, I have all the money. They here. You want an example of
go ahead, Brad.
somebody who's like sort of screwing the not-for-profit thing over. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Okay, yeah, here it is right here. Okay, here's an example of someone who's screwing every one of his parishioners and got all these not-for-profit. He's got a big house down in Texas which is tax-free. You know who I'm going to talk about, John?
Who's that, Brad?
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
That's terrific.
Kenneth Copeland, who won't fly regular aircraft because he won't fly scheduled airlines because he doesn't want. What was that again, Ken? One more time. What did you say?
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Yeah, he won't fly. He won't. And just like we've got one of them right here in St. Louis. What's her name? Joyce. What's her name again?
Joyce Meyer.
Yeah, Joyce Meyer. She's got.
Brad, shouldn't you? I mean, isn't it a little bit hypocritical because for more than a year you've been running GodSquad.cloud, and that's a nonprofit, right?
No, it's not.
It's not a you didn't get a $105 nonprofit registration with the Secretary of State. You're running God Squad as a for-profit. Well, I mean, if it's your business, you're losing money, but you're running it in theory as a for-profit corporation.
Yeah, because talk the talk, walk the walk.
Wow, that's it. So in other words, you couldn't figure out how to fill out the nonprofit paper.
No,
awesome.
That's not it. See, there's so many. John.
I want to hear a song that tells me that we can lead a profitable and prosperous life, Brad.
No, John, it's a positive. See, the three P's, the three P's of God Squad are positivity, productivity, and prosperity. Those are the three P's.
There they are. That's why there's prosperity churches. That reminds me, there used to be an old guy on KSLQ who would come on once in a while, and he would talk about the 3 Gs. And I'm like, it's been a week since you talked about it. Are you sure you're not talking about the 3 Ps? And he's like, no, John, it's the 3 Gs. It's guns and girls and garrulousness.
No, the three P's are to counteract the 3 Gs. We need to go to number 2. You ready?
Yeah, Brad.
Oh, hold on a minute. I hit the wrong screen up because I still have Kenneth Copeland. Okay, here we go.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
Okay, John, explain this to me. This is on STLPR, and I read the entire article. It talks about that the Senate or the House or some congressional body in Jefferson City.
You've read the whole thing, clearly.
I read the whole thing. Here, I'll bring it up. I did read the whole thing.
Sure. Anyway, what about it?
Because it's only like 3 paragraphs long. Hold on, let me get my phone.
It.
Okay, they're going to legalize the gas station gaming machines. Did you see this?
I don't know, Brad. Are there about a half dozen articles about it today up on johncombest.com?
Well, there are. So that's why I say, John, explain it to me. The article is written by...
Brad, I think one of the topics, sorry to interrupt, I think one of the topics that we've beaten to death over the last year and a half are video lottery terminals. And I think, first of all, if this is your first time listening to the Brad and John show, I don't know how you came here because Brad doesn't advertise our station. But you found us through johncombest.com, or you're driving and you are scanning buttons and you found 104.5. So welcome. Video lottery terminals, Brad, as we've discussed 3 to 4 times a week for the last 2 years, are in a number of gas stations. And the organizations, the companies that have these, for example, Torch Electronics, J&J Ventures, are looking to create some sort of a moat around their business by making their machines legal and keeping less desirable machines out of certain venues. So as discussed many times on this show, legislation moving through the Missouri House and the Missouri Senate would put parameters around these machines, make them legal, and make the companies able to make a profit and do it in a legal way.
Members of the Missouri House Committee voted to advance a bill Monday afternoon that would legalize and regulate video gaming machines most often found in gas stations, bars, and fraternal organizations. That's paragraph number 1. The committee voted 8-5 to send the legislation to the full House. There's paragraph 2, there's paragraph 3, paragraph 4. I read actually 5. The last paragraph's only one session. The legislation will likely be debated on the House floor soon. I read the whole story, John. And
good for you, Brad. Here's a cookie. Anyway, if people want to read more and don't want to just read the St. Louis Public Radio piece, and by the way, Brad, the piece I believe in St. Louis Public Radio was written by their intern. Does it say Lily Halloran?
Yeah, is she an intern?
Yeah. Okay, so that's great. Let's read a story from an intern. Anyway, there's other stories written by actual reporters up on johncombest.com today, including one from Kurt Erickson, the big bowl of smiles from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And there's other stories about this. So as discussed many times on the show, yes, this legislation, as predicted many times on this show, is moving forward, Brad.
Do you think it's going to pass?
Yeah, I think this is the year that something will happen with VLTs for sure.
With BLTs, bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes?
Yeah, with bacon, lettuce, and tomato. Yeah. Actually, Brad, after you pass away and nobody in your family wants to pick up funeral costs, it's going to be a Brad lettuce and tomato. We're just going to auction you off with some venison.
John, old radio people never die. We just smell that way. Okay, you ready for number 1?
Give it to us, Brad.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
For those of you who are new to the show, the Brad and John Show, and of course nobody would ever pick up on the Brad and John Show from the social media promotion that I do. Everything
you do so much of it, Brad, to your 6 followers that don't respond to your posts. Go ahead.
John, I'm coming up on a milestone on my Facebook page. I'm almost to my 5,000th person. Matter of fact, I keep getting the warning emails from Facebook that I've got to convert over to professional.
I love all the time that you'll say that you got a comment on your Facebook page. And I'm like, how did somebody comment? You're like, they're my friend on Facebook. And I say, do you know them? No. Oh, okay. That's good. They're a good friend. Anyway, Brad, go ahead.
John, I have to be honest with you, and I was saying, if you've listened to the show any length of time, you'll notice that I'm the dumb guy and John is the smart guy. So yesterday, the dumb guy, meaning me, said, "Hey, John, what happened to the IP reform? The Republicans are always jumping up and down and yelling and screaming, we're going to do IP reform so we don't have any more of these abortion things and legalize marijuana."
That was in C Block yesterday.
It was in C Block yesterday. And I asked you, and you told me correctly that you didn't know what the status on that was. Correct?
I did not say that. No, I just said, nope, that's not what I said at all.
What did you say?
We described why we haven't heard much about it. And I said there's just not a lot of oxygen in the room was the phrase I used. And there's other priorities. I said, that's why we haven't heard that much about it.
John, do you want to know the real reason?
Ooh, I do, Brad.
Sent to me by, I don't know, I've never heard of this guy before. Ben Baker, I believe. Ben Baker? Yes.
Yeah, obviously Ben Baker is a big name in Missouri politics. Yeah, what did Ben have to say?
Yesterday at 12:39, he listened to the show and he says, IP reform was passed in the second special session and will already be on the ballot this fall. That's why you haven't heard much about it this session.
You know what? That's a great explanation. Thank you, Ben. Now, if that's the real Ben Baker, I mean, there's probably multiple people in Missouri named Ben Baker. But if that's the real Ben Baker, Ben, first of all, thank you for taking the time to weigh in here. And that would make sense then, Brad, because there have been a lot of debates as we think about it from the fall and the winter in the courts of whether Missourians will be voting on the IP changes as passed in special session. So I stand corrected, Brad.
John, you never make a mistake. Never.
No,
ever,
I make a lot of mistakes. The difference is I own up to them, and I'm happy to point out when I'm wrong. So thank you to Ben Baker for that.
And what's interesting was, and I replied back, Ben, thank you so much for listening to the show. How did you find us? And his response was, Brad, I follow you on Facebook. I love all the things you post on Facebook. And that John Combest guy, I don't know. He's okay, but Brad, you're my favorite. And by the way,
oh, that's good for Ben. Now, if it's the Ben that we're thinking of, and we'll make an assumption here that it's the Ben that we're thinking of. So Ben is the state director for rural development, and he's a former state representative, but he's with USDA now, and he got a plum appointment from the Trump administration to come and work for USDA.
now, I also asked him, remember we were trying to get him for Monday, and he said he had some yesterday, and he had some conflicts.
That's a different person, Brad.
It's not the same guy?
Brad. Ben Brown.
Oh, no.
My God.
No.
It's not the same as Ben Baker.
No. I'm sorry. Ben Brown. This is from Ben Brown.
Oh, my God. Brad, are you serious? Did you call? Okay.
Yes.
Ben Baker and Ben Brown are two completely separate people.
I get it. This was Ben Brown.
Okay, that's not what you said.
Well, I screwed up, John. Just like you screwed up.
There you go. Okay, well, that's okay. Good to know. Ben Baker is still a great guy.
Okay,
and thanks to Senator Ben Brown, who's a completely different person, for weighing in on initiative petition legislation.
Right. When you start going on, he's a state senator. Okay, it's Ben Brown. I stand corrected. But see, once again, that shows I'm the dumb guy. You're the smart guy. All there is to it,
So anyway, that's good feedback from Senator Brown. Thank you, Senator Brown.
Okay, that's what he says. And I tried to contact him. Well, we tried to set it up for Monday. We talked about him on Friday. Tried to set up on Monday. He had a conflict. And I sent him, after he sent me that yesterday, I said to him, can you do Friday at 7:45 a.m.? And I haven't heard back from him yet. So hopefully we might be able to have Ben Brown, not Ben Baker, who we don't care about anymore because he's up in the feds. He's,
He's still based in Missouri. Shout out to Ben Baker. He's great. You know what would be great, Brad? And let's get the name right this time. Ben Brown. I hate to do our scheduling on the air, but Monday morning from 7 to 7:15, I'm going to be in my car.
Yeah.
And I think it would be great to rejigger our show that morning and have Ben Brown, Senator Brown, on Monday at 7 a.m. for A Block, and I'll be back at home for B Block.
There's a problem with that.
Which is what?
All the women listeners who are attractive women between the ages of 25 and 45 who wear at least 3-inch heels would not know what to do with themselves for 15 minutes from 7 to 7:15 by not hearing you on the air.
Yeah, well, Brad, I come from the school of you make them wait. And you know what? They'll sit there, and the more they wait and the more invested they are, they sit around and they think, why have I waited 15 minutes for John? He always does this to me. And then they tell themselves, it's because I want John that badly. And Brad, they'll sit around for another 15.
Well, I will run that by him. So in other words, he would be the guest for 15 minutes from like 7 to 7:15 on Monday morning.
That would be great. Yeah. Or you could do a Combestian A Block and make it last because John talks so much to like 7:22.
So is he, here's a dumb question for you. He just got elected 2 years ago, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. He's up for re-election this year.
No, he's a senator. He's a 4-year term, so he's not up for re-election. Isn't he a senator?
Yeah, I said he was elected. Yeah, he was elected 2 years ago. So he's up for election. What was that? So if he was elected in 2024, which was 2 years ago. I'm sorry, where's my math here, Brad?
John!
Where's my math? He was elected 4 years ago. You're right.
You're the smart guy. Come on, John.
You're right. Ben Baker, Brad. Let's talk about Ben Baker. So to answer your question, and Brad, this is going to disappoint you because you'll tell a story about some guy coming down an escalator in 2015. But Ben Brown, like every elected official in Franklin County and St. Charles County, does not have a competitive general election. So Ben will be because of many things, including the war chest that he has built and the job he has done representing people in that district. He will have neither significant primary opposition, nor will he have a real general election. Which means technically, yes, he's up for re-election this year. And if you're running for re-election, you should always run scared. But there are no competitive state legislative races in St. Charles County or in Franklin County.
So you're telling me that they're not going to spend any money?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Brad. Or you could make another option is to make a direct appeal to them instead of complaining passive aggressively on the radio. You can make a direct appeal to them, not sending them just one piece of junk mail and saying, "You're not returning my junk mail." but actually making a direct plea to them
No, hold on a
as we
minute
get
now.
closer to the primary.
You just said there's no competitive races. Mike Carter just came out as going run again for state senate. Isn't that
You
competitive?
saw that?
He's my friend. He personally contacted me.
He's your Facebook friend.
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
Well, I'm surprised you saw that because somebody sent that to me the other day, Brad. That's amazing.
I think it was me, wasn't it?
No, I don't read the text or open the videos from you. So it wasn't you. It was somebody else.
Okay, John. Another flattering session from John there. Okay.
Hey, Ben Baker called. We got to get him on the air.
No comment.
Brad, will you go to your local crypto ATM and send me some money? You seem like you're lost.
I am. I'm lost. I'm lost in space. Well, warning.